May have been closer than everyone wanted, but Team Canada gets a 7-5 victory. How's it going, everyone? It is I, Jacob Moore, the self-proclaimed sports analyst who you may not see, but I am always here in your hearts. And I'm joined by a very talented crew. I don't know why Dan's wearing a box.
Dan likes Boxing Day too much.
It's Boxing Day!
That doesn't mean you wear a box, Dan.
Why not? If kids can do it, I can do it too. When you buy a kid a present, what do they play with? The box.
No,
yeah,
Dan,
but when kids do it, it's cute. When a grown man does it, it just looks weird, Dan. It just looks
I'm a kid at heart.
But of course, we have Mr. Moore for your money.
Woo! Hello, everyone.
Adam the goat.
Yes.
Because Tobey Maguire was bit by a spider. See, Adam, it was a goat. And we have Lane dashing Dashko.
He just doesn't want to show his dashing face.
Dashing through the stream.
What happened? Did he still here?
He's
trying to put a box on my head.
Oh, see, it's harder than it looks, bro.
I'm using the lid of my MacBook.
Oh, the lid. I need the whole box.
No.
Jacob's got a football helmet on his Aquas hat.
I tried.
Nobody gets to see what I'm doing yet.
Oh.
That's because Adam's in his birthday suit, I think.
It's
it could be.
No.
Oh, I like that hat box.
I don't want people to think that.
It's a cardboard from my beer.
I'm getting the camera soon, then people get to see my beautiful face.
You know what, boys? Enough of the shenanigans.
See, Lane, it's harder than it looks, eh?
Well, yeah.
Well, he's got a harder box, Dan. You had a big box
Lane
that covers your face.
Challenging box.
Yeah, he's got a harder box, Dan.
Anyway.
See, I put a lot of thought into it. I had to look around the whole house for the right box to fit my head.
Oh, that was an awesome game, though. That was sick.
But let's get right into the comment section from great friend of the program, Key. I must say, Canada and Czechia was easily the best game of the day. I must say, I hate a new team, and I'm loving every minute of the new developing rivalry. Also, Germany played good regardless of the score. It looked more like a 1-goal difference than being a 3-goal difference. But absolutely, I will say I thought Germany, which actually I do want to speak on.
The U.S. a lot of issues.
I want to speak on all the games today, actually. But I mean, the main one, obviously, we're going to talk about is Canada, Czechia. But I will say, though, I kind of want to start to break down this Team Canada win. And a win's a win, and I'm happy with the win. But Adam and I were discussing off air. And Adam, I'm not going to say your point first, but I'm going to say mine.
Oh, okay.
And then
I get to say my point?
And you do. And then Dan and Lane can decide who's right.
Oh, sounds like fun.
Okay, so if you guys remember last year, Team Canada scored 13 goals in the entire tournament. They had the second worst shooting percentage in the entire tournament. They could not score to save their lives.
Unfortunately, I remember that.
Dan, hold on. But they could defend really well.
Mm-hmm.
And they had phenomenal goaltending.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like we made a deal with the devil to get scoring. We gave away our defense and goaltending. And this is very, very concerning. And if this defense doesn't figure it out quickly, and I'm even going to say, I'm not even just thinking before we play Finland. I'm thinking before we play Latvia, before we play whoever else we got to play next. Because remember, Latvia beat us last year. This is a legitimate concern that the power play looked terrible. Yep. Czechia was winning puck battles on 1 versus 5. Yeah, they won the game, but I hate to say it. I honestly did not feel Canada played well. It was entertaining, but do I feel Canada played well? I don't. I'm glad they won, but I don't think they played well. Adam, now on to you, good sir.
Okay, well, I don't think they played well. I do agree though, Jacob. Like I do think the defense is a big issue. Like how they played defensively wasn't amazing. But I do think all of those issues are all issues that are all fixable via just like watching film and Dale Hunter coaching it basically out of them. I think is what needs to be done. Like, because I'll say, I don't remember all the goals, but at least the first 3 or 4 goals, all of Czechia's first 3 or 4 goals all came off of just missed coverages. Like the first goal, missed coverage off, I think it was off the back post. Like they're all just missed coverages that I think all the players were just really nervous. And I think like big portion of this team were playing in the tournament for the first time. Whether that's like an excuse, you want to call it an excuse or not, or whatever, but it's a fact. Whether you like it or not, it's a fact. A lot of these players are playing in this tournament for the first time. And I just think all of those things, once Dale Hunter gets them into the room, whether it's tomorrow before tomorrow's game, which I'm sure they'll review some of this stuff tomorrow before the game, and then like on their days off ahead of the Denmark and Finland games. Like these are all things that I think the players can fix and that they'll learn to fix over the next 2 games, because we play Latvia tomorrow and then Denmark the next game after, which are both games that this team should win. Whether they win it or not, just like we saw last year, it won't be like a walkthrough like we all expect it to be. It will be tough. But I do think that those next 2 games will be tough tests for this team to get through with their coverages and all this. I will say the first period was probably Canada's best period by far. They played great in that period. The goal wasn't ideal. I will say Carter George made 28 saves. He gave up 5 goals. And I do agree, Jacob, that is a major concern. But this Czechia team is just relentless, to say the least. This Czechia team is a tough team to play against. And I don't want to take anything away from them, because they punished this team and they made Canada pay for their mistakes. Carter George had no chance on 3 or 4 of these goals. Like Carter George, I think, made the saves that he could make. Some of these goals he just wasn't going to be able to stop at the end of the day. I think Canada's decor is really good, and I think they'll make up for these mistakes in the next game. And I do think these mistakes are fixable, but whether or not they do it is something else, to say the least. Like, we don't know. I do agree, though, Jacob, these are concerning things. And I do hope that this defensive core figures it out, because this defense is really good. And I do think they can fix these mistakes. And I really hope they do at the end of the day, because the offense looked great. I thought Carter George, despite giving up 5 goals, I don't know if anybody else agrees with me or not, but I thought he played phenomenally. I'm interested to see how Ivan Kovic plays tomorrow, because I do think he is a phenomenal goalie, and I thought he played phenomenally against Latvia last year. So, but you never know. He could just steal the net from Carter George. If he plays lights out tomorrow, you never know. He could just steal the net from Carter George. We've seen it before. The starter going into the tournament gets dethroned after a rough first game. The backup comes in and steals the show in the second. You never know. It could happen again in this game. I remember it happened last time Mr. Hunter coached the team in 2020. I think it was 2020. When, if you all remember that rough game against Russia, the goalie who was supposed to start didn't start the rest of the tournament because the backup stole the show in the next game. And I think it's important to realize that there's still more hockey to play, and this is not the finished product of this team. This team is not finished. Canada's known for starting slow. All teams,
for sure. And I mean,
but there are concerns, Jacob. I'm not going to say that your concerns are not valid, because they are. But Canada, I think this group is good enough to fix their issues. And I do think they'll be I think maybe even Verhoff comes in tomorrow, and Verhoff comes in for somebody. I'm interested to see if there's adjustments on maybe even the pairings, because I don't think all the pairings I don't think Cameron Reed looked great. I don't think Zane Pareke looked great to you. Zane Pareke scored. He did great offensively, but defensively that pairing was rough. That pairing was not good.
Interesting. That's an interesting take.
Well, no, Cameron Reed was on the ice for 2 goals. I don't know how
Cameron Reed. I thought you said I don't know why I was thinking the guy that scored 2 goals.
Zane Pareke had a great offensive game, but I don't think, because he's not great defensively. I will say this. I don't think he's amazing defensively. He was a -1. He was on for more goals conceded than he was for goals scored. That could be I think that's more so the pairing than it is Zane Pareke being not being good in this game. I thought Zane Prager was great. Him and Cameron Reed just didn't look great as a pairing defensively today. I'm not going to blame either one of them for it. I just think the whole defense had a rough game. Harrison Brunacki looked great. He was a +3. Like, I think that second line looked amazing. The first line looked great the further the game went on. I thought, like, Kayshawn Atkinson had a -1. There's a lot of players that didn't, like, defensively weren't amazing. I could definitely see some of those defensive pairings switching up. Whether Verhoff comes in tomorrow or not I think could be an interesting discussion. He is 17. Carls is 17 as well, and he played all of this game. So I think.
But I am curious though. So Adam, we've heard kind of your side of it. Are you think this can be coached out of the team, go to the film room, and a lot of
it's a coachable thing.
I more feel like we traded defense to have offense. I'm curious, either Dan or Lane, I want you guys to take the floor here. And what are your thoughts? Are you more on Adam's side and think Dale Hunter could potentially coach this out? Or are you on my side thinking if we're going to win games, we're going to have to score 5 or 6 goals a night?
I'm with Jacob on this one, to be honest. I think I don't know what game you guys watch. I think they got dog walked tonight, to be brutally honest. I think this is not a good Kane team. And I'm actually really scared that they're not going to medal again if they don't play better. Like, this is not a way. You're not going to win a tournament playing like this. Like, you didn't win faceoffs. You weren't good on the power play. You weren't good at the fundamental hockey. The only thing you did was you scored some goal because you have maybe a few. It reminds me of the Leafs in a way. It's like you have the skill to score that goal that you might get you the goal. But other than that, you played pretty much a really bad hockey game. Where I'll give the credit to Czechia. They dog walked you.
Lane, I have a question for you, and I really want to take you back. What was it, 5 years ago? Now, almost 6 years ago. So 2020, that tournament. So that team was really good. Heading into that Russia game, Canada was not expected to get dog walked by Russia. What was it, 6-1? If anybody can remember, I'm pretty sure it was 6. But they got
it was
dog
6-1 or
walked.
6-2.
Alexei Lafreniere gets hurt. Canada, everybody's freaking out on Canada. They just got dog walked by Russia and all this stuff. I came into this game, I expected Canada to win because, of course, I did. But Lane, did you have a similar feeling on that game? And I think that game was a turning point for Canada in that tournament. They got taught a tough lesson. Even though Canada didn't lose this game, I do think that this is a big lesson to them that they got to be better. Dale Hunter turned that team around, and they played great in that gold medal game against Russia. I expect the next time they play Czechia to play just as well. And I expect Dale Hunter is going to be able to turn this team around. I just wonder if you feel like this is just not something they can turn around and something they can't learn from, because they've done it before. Team Canada's have done it before. And Dale Hunter's turned the team around
4 years.
Before.
What do you mean? We haven't won for 3 years. Like, we haven't been.
Yeah, but this is different. This is a different management group. This is only 19 players have changed. Not like only 6 players are back from last year. Not like we all want to talk about in an NHL franchise, that's different because these players never really change year in and year out. The coaching staff is completely different from last year. How they went in and about getting into this tournament was different. Dale Hunter is a different
coach. They lost to Sweden in the pre-tournament, Adam.
Yeah, but that's a loss. That's a pre-tournament game, Lane. Why are we freaking out over pre-tournament?
Because we know because we're not, because it's just time to face it. We're not the Mecca hockey anymore.
Yes.
We're not.
Lane,
we're not as good as we think we are.
Caught up with us, and I feel like this is just Canadian cockiness.
We're not as good as we think we are.
Czechia are just as good as Canada are.
Canada's not the Mecca hockey.
Win gold. Losing a pre-tournament game means nothing. Losing a pre-tournament game doesn't mean anything when they beat Denmark.
It means something to people who pay $460 to watch it in the kitchen.
Yeah. Okay, well then that sucks for them. They went and watched Canada lose to a very good Sweden. You guys are acting like Sweden are not one of the best teams in the world, not one of the best hockey nations in the world.
Sweden has never medaled.
They lost to Latvia. Like losing to Latvia last year was a major.
Wouldn't even be surprised if Latvia beat them tomorrow.
Lane, your reaction right now is the exact reaction I would expect that everybody had after that Latvia game. And that makes sense because you lose to a Latvia team you hadn't lost to before in the World Juniors. We just beat Czechia, who are one of the best hockey
Barely.
nations in the barely. Yeah,
Barely.
they're Lane. We
They
didn't
outshot
lose
you. They
to a
outchanced you.
bad
They
team.
won more faceoffs
But
than
a
you.
win is a win.
You
I'm
didn't
kind
lose
of
to a
in
bad
between
team.
Lane and
You
Adam,
guys
like
are
a very
acting like
sexy
this
sandwich.
I'm not saying Jacob, but Lane, you are acting like this is concerning, Lane. I'm not going to discredit what you said is not concerning. All of this is concerning.
You're allowed
but
to have your opinion.
it's
I'm allowed to
not
have
like-
my opinion. I'm
But like defensive
I'm a passionate
miscues-
guy, and I
Yeah. But it's like this is all coachable stuff. I've seen this stuff get coached out of players before. Defensive mistakes are so easily fixed over 24 hours. These players are not bad hockey players. They'll figure it out. They'll be better. That's how you like when you give up 5 goals, Carter George is going to be better the next time he plays because he knows the mistakes he made. A lot of these players are going to know the mistakes they made. Saying that Canada's not going to medal off of one game is just ridiculous to me. That's all I'm going to say is that it's ridiculous after one game because the U.S. didn't look convincing against Germany. They won by 3 goals, but it wasn't a convincing performance from the U.S. to say the least.
But I think guys, we gotta
44 seconds after. Sorry, Jacob.
It's good. We just got to get to some comments because comments are flooding in. So, and then Dan, we'll get to your take on this debate because I'm curious where you sit. We have another comment from Key. What's your take on Czechia playing dirty? I believe this is directed to me, so hello. Is it because they don't like us and beat us twice? They think it's been dirty now rising. I've noticed it a long ago before the rivalry. Look, I would say with Czechia, Key, I think they play hard. I think they play at the line. I don't know if I'd necessarily call them dirty, and I think Canada's got to be able to take the heat. And look, when I'm saying these things, I'm not saying Canada can't medal and that they don't have skilled players. I just have legitimate concerns, although they did lose to a very good Czechia team, and maybe we need to look a little closer and be like, look, this Czechia team is actually a better team than people want to admit. Everyone's saying this is either Canada's tournament or the States or Sweden's. We'll get into it later. I think Slovakia is another team that could potentially be giving some teams a run. But no, I wouldn't call Czechia necessarily dirty. I think they play on that. I think they play on the edge. Do they take it a little over the edge sometimes? Sure, but I think so does Canada. I wouldn't call Canada a dirty nation when it comes to hockey. I think we play on that edge. Yeah, I would agree.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to the show. And I do agree that having Russia in these tournaments, I mean, obviously there's a political climate we're not going to get into here at the desk. This isn't a political show. If you want a political show, go watch a political show. But yeah, I do agree, like, in a way, losing the talent level that Russia brings to this, the World Cup of Hockey, the Olympics, and so on and so forth. Absolutely, that does throw a wrench into it. It does suck, especially for hockey. Adam, you are getting a shout out, Adam. Congratulations.
Well, no, it's not even that. It's just like, I don't think personally, I don't want to get negative over one game where it's like, I think Czechia, I will say after that second period, I thought Canada was very lucky to be at 3-2 or 3-3, whatever it was. I thought we were so lucky. That first period was great. Second period was one of the worst periods I ever expected from how that first period went, where I thought they were really good. I thought Czechia were really good in that first period. But like that second period was horrendous. Like you can't play defensively like that against like Sweden or Finland or Czechia again.
And I will say to this comment here, Alex, and I mean, again, you are entitled to your opinion like anyone else is, but I wouldn't call that a convincing win by Canada.
Oh,
I think there was only one convincing win today at the World Juniors, and we'll get into more details later. But that was between Finland and Denmark. I would call that it was the only convincing win today, where I feel one team dominated the game from start to finish. But Dan, I'm curious on your take. You've heard my side. You've heard Adam's side. You've heard Lane's side. So far, we have a very nice sandwich. You want to get in here and just add the fourth bun to this sandwich? What's going on?
Well, what are we making here? A Big Mac? I just want to say welcome to the show, Alex. I think you're a new viewer, so thank you. I forgot what the question was. I feel the question was asked 15 minutes ago, but I'll just give my take on the game here. I feel like last year we were watching a team coached by like Craig Berube, very defensively, very bowling, only 13 goals in the whole tournament, yada, yada, yada. And I feel like this year we're watching a team that was built by the Edmonton Oilers. It was very exciting, very unpredictable, a lot of crazy offense, very bad defense. So, will we win? I don't know. But I would say I think it's more exciting to see a win, see a loss with excitement like that versus a loss in a 2-1 hockey game. I think Canada overall played pretty good. I don't think it was dirty from Czechia or Canada. I just like the fact that it's a heated rivalry now, and rivalry in sports is a great thing. But I think I'll just say this. I think Carter George has to be better. I think it was ridiculous. I mean, Carter George reminds me of a Jordan Binnington or Andrew Waycroft. Yeah, this one hot year. And even if you look at his numbers in the OHL from the Owen Attacks, his numbers are terrible this year. And his numbers are terrible today.
Well, I was going to say, right, Dan?
Owen Sound are not good.
And Dan, I would say, sorry to cut you off, Dan, but I do want to say this. The Owen Sound Attack are one of the worst teams. The only team.
Oh, I know that. I get that, but it could be also bad because of their bad goaltending, right?
Well, that's true. Goaltending, they would be further ahead. So,
and I would agree. Carter George definitely has to be better, but you have to agree, like, at least the first 4 goals, I want to say, were definitely goals that he couldn't have had. One, because one was a deflection, and like the other ones, he was just like the positioning, the positioning by his defenders were horrible. That has to be better. And if it's not, then that, like, I think Jacob, I will agree to your point that defensively they got to be better. But I think it's more concerning if tomorrow they aren't better defensively. That's the important part. Is that if they aren't better tomorrow, that's when it gets concerning. If they're not better defensively, you don't see a big difference. And I'll let you continue, Dan. Sorry, but like if you don't see the difference in the next game, then that's when it becomes concerning. You may continue, Dan. I'm sorry.
Okay, I got the talking stick now. Thank you.
The talking box.
Yeah, the talking box. That's right. I think the other thing I wanted to point out with Team Canada concerned me was the leadership. When the captain of Team Canada scored the empty net goal, he gave the butt tap, to the Czech player. I get it's cute. I get it's funny. But, whoa, maybe it would have not been a penalty in the NHL, but IIHF, that stuff does not like that stuff. You know that's going to be a penalty. And Canada got it out, but he put it in a very difficult way. So if it was me, I would take the captaincy off him now because that's not a good leader.
That's a little
Just
rushed.
Straight up.
I think that's a little rushed, but I mean, I will say I thought the penalty was ridiculous. And Alex, I do agree with you that the offense is certainly improved. But I agree with you. I would say maybe not the defense. It's not a maybe. It's clear cut. The defense was a lot worse tonight than it was last year. That's all I'm getting at. And let's get back to the comment section again, though. We have Haig looked good, player of the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, he did.
He had a really that line in general. I thought was Canada's best line today.
That line is great. I would also say that third line. That third line was rough for me. Like Badone, Reschke, I think is how you say his last name. Like that third line was rough. Like that third line cannot be a line. Like that third line needs to be like switched around. Like I think Sam O'Reilly maybe gets bumped up. I thought he had a good game. But like that third line was so rough. Like Desharnais, I could see coming in, like playing more minutes than he did because I thought he played well when he got up onto different lines. Like I thought he did well. But I do think like there are definitely some things that could be switched around, and I do trust that Dale Hunter is going to be able to figure it out. Whether that happens or not is when I would start to get concerned is if things aren't different. But I can understand Jacob, you and Lane's concerns. I definitely fully understand them, but I'm not ready to get concerned until like I've seen more. Like until I've seen at least the 2 games, I'm not going to I'm not going to get ready to say that this team is this is not going to end well for this team. I do want to say, like, you can't offensively outscore everybody. The power play was definitely a concern because they just couldn't get anything going at times. And I think that's more so because of Czechia's really good defense, I would say at least. But again, like you need to switch things around. And I do think things will I do hope things turn around. But like right now, if this play continues tomorrow, this is not going to end well.
Now, the only thing
Like,
is,
they need to definitely be better.
I'll say this, though, and this is no disrespect to Latvia. Latvia beat us last year. But
They did.
it's going to be hard to judge improvements going from Czechia. I almost wish we were playing Finland tomorrow, because then you could really see where the improvement window is, right? Whether we have drastically improved. And like I said, I think I'm kind of between Adam and Lane, like a beautiful sandwich. And it's kind of, one of those things where you really go back and forth on, it's one game. I agree with Adam. I think this potentially can be coached out to a point, but I agree with Lane. There's a lot of things that were absolutely brutal, from goaltending to careless penalties to
Mark
There was 2
penalty kills. And just
Penalty made
quickly,
him take
guys, I
7
didn't get a
penalties.
chance to do this before the start of the show. Just as a comment reminder from the analyst desk, we welcome all opinions in hockey debate, but let's keep it respectful in the comment section. Disagree if you'd like, but that makes good conversations. Just keep it classy, top the game, respect each other, no personal attacks. And of course, I love to add the tagline where every day feels like game day, because I just feel that's a fun little tagline.
I'm not trying to say that we can't be good. I'm just saying what I've seen last year. We finished 5th. We're coming into this year. We've already lost 1 game. Yeah, exhibition, whatever you want to say. Still lost. You didn't look particularly good in your first game. I think I know we left a lot of people last year. It's a new group. It's a new management. There's a new different attack on how to build teams. That's all fine and dandy. I'm just saying what I felt like. I felt like Czechia is stepping up. I feel like the other countries are stepping. All I'm trying to say is it feels like the other countries are stepping up. Canada is not. They're not elite. They're not. They're still elite on the gold medal stage. But I feel like especially these World Junior tournaments where the town's getting younger and younger and pumping in, you're starting to see where it's like, 4 or 5 years ago, this would be a 7-0 win.
Oh,
It would not have been I don't agree with it being a 7-0 win 5 years ago.
It was.
Like, no. Well, I'm just saying, I don't think it's as easy and as simple as
you got even called out of the
5 years ago.
Because it's Boxing Day in Canada. So
Lane,
happy Boxing Day.
No, but I think, Adam, what more Lane means, and maybe not 5 years ago, but we take this back 10 years ago, Canada rolls over Czechia.
No, but
I think that's, and I think too,
they used to, Adam. I'm not making it up.
No, Jacob, I'm not saying but I'm just saying it's not as easy as pointing out and saying, well, it was 7-0 5 or 10 years ago. No matter what you want to say, but the fact of the matter is that I want to say, I would say
Boxing Day.
The best way to explain my point of view here is to go to a different sport. In my eyes, it's just easier for me sometimes. I would say women's soccer. Let's go. 10 years ago,
thank you.
U.S. women's team dog walks the French women's team because the U.S. are just 10 times better than everybody else. And it's okay, fair enough. There you go. They're just better. But in the last 10 years, every other country has started to step up and better develop, while the U.S. have been left behind because they haven't developed younger players. And they haven't put as much money into the game as European countries have. France may be a bad example to say they would get dog walked by the US, but you get my point. But
actually, funny enough, Adam, Canada, I think you and Lane are on the same page there. I think it's you guys are explaining it a different way.
Czechia, the world has caught up with Canada. Whether we like it or not, Canada is very good at this level. They're very good at hockey. But the rest of the world, their talent levels have gone up a notch. And Canada just has to find different ways. They're not gonna beat the brakes off of everybody anymore, and that's okay.
But Adam,
you can't play the
Adam,
way
I think you're missing my point. I think you're missing my point. I think that they think they can, though. I think with the old mentality,
it's an ego thing.
Because that's what I'm trying to say. I think there's a mentality because let's be honest, Hockey Canada, whether you like it or not, is still an older mentality, right? You you got look who's running the team. You got old people. You got old people who have played an older style game, and I still think there's an ego in there that thinks, we can come out here and beat this team 7-0. We can go up there and beat Latvia 5-0, and you just can't because hockey has evolved in other places. You're 100%. Starting to see more talent and teams who are more hungry that are putting more into their programs, And you can't just go up there and beat Latvia 5-0 by missing 50% of your faceoffs. Maybe 10 years ago when McDavid was coming, maybe you could have the worst game ever and you could go beat Latvia 12-0. You can't do that anymore. It's not going to happen. These teams are hungrier. The talent is better. The countries are putting more money.
Watch days over.
Denmark's putting more money in. Germany's putting more money in. Latvia's putting more money in. They're getting better talent. They're getting on a stage. There's relegation. You're seeing other countries step in. You're seeing on both sides of the country. You're seeing. We talked about the women's in Nelupsnova in Slovakia. You're seeing this happen. It's getting better. So, I still think there's that old mentality of that. Oh, we're just going to go in here, and I feel like Canada kind of played like that tonight, thinking, yeah, we're Canada. This should be an easy game. And they didn't. They won. Yeah, they won. They did win the game. I'm not saying they didn't, but it wasn't like
too far away though.
If Czechia won the game, I would have been like, Czechia really deserved that game.
Well, Lane, I will say, this is a great segue to this point because I may be remembering the game wrong, and because I have like a kind of a crappy memory at times, but I'm pretty sure if we go back 3 years ago, so the first Canada versus Czechia matchup in this rivalry, game 1 of the 2023. I think it was World Juniors.
Yeah, I know Czechia won.
So you got McTavish, you got Bedard. If you all remember going back to that game, Connor Bedard tried a Michigan, and Canada got, let's be honest, they didn't get dog walked, but they got dominated by a better Czechia team at the end of the day. And I do want to say, like, the mistakes may have been worse today than they were 3 years ago, but that Canada team learned a tough lesson that I think this year's Canada team, despite winning, can learn a similar lesson.
I hope so.
If they take it away, that Canada's ego got checked by Czechia, and if they learn from it, it will be similar. I think they can be on a similar path.
I hope so.
Well, like, I do think this was an ego check for them. I
would have thought last year losing to Latvia.
Let them get a big ego. I really do hope Dale Hunter wouldn't have let them come into this game with a big ego. I do hope that, but I don't know because I wasn't there. And I don't know what came into this. I don't know if they had big ego or not. But, like, they have to play better. And I do think, and personally, I don't care if I sound like I'm just, like, delusional and thinking that he can do it. But I don't think Dale Hunter is going to let them, like, he may be 60 years old. He may be a part of that old guard that had them playing a different way. But I don't think Dale Hunter is going to let them do it. I don't think Dale Hunter
he's still a successful coach in the CHL, like the London Knights. Love him or hate him in Ontario Hockey League.
I don't think Dale Hunter is going to let them.
I don't think so either.
It doesn't, like, people may, like, I know, Lane, you might disagree with me on this.
I'm not disagreeing.
I don't think that Dale Hunter is going to let them go into this next game and go into the rest of this tournament thinking that they can just walk all over people anymore. And that's just my opinion. And I know people are going to disagree with it, but
I just don't think we'll let them do it. Question. Don't you think losing to Latvia and finishing 5th last year would have been when's the reality check going to come?
Yeah.
You haven't won in 3 years. You
100%.
finished 5th, bro. 5th.
I want to make a comment on this. And I'm going to throw a little bit of flack at the media as much as I work in media. And I know everyone in media is doing the best they can. But when you put on the television or listen to the radio or listen to a podcast that's not ours, which you shouldn't be, you should just listen to the analyst desk all day, just on repeat. But all you hear is everyone pumping Team Canada's tires. So I want you to picture yourself as a 17-year-old kid, and everyone is telling you you're the best. Nobody's better than you. You're perfect.
Yeah.
It's like that song, You're Worth It.org by Dax, which is one of the weirdest music videos I've watched in my entire life. And everyone is just going on that you are the best at this no matter what. So you go into these tournaments, I feel, and you listen to the outside noise and you are so overconfident, because I did feel there was a bit of an overconfidence issue. Actually, I think there wasn't a game for US versus Germany as well. And I think, and I'm not blaming the media necessarily. I mean, they're just out there doing their job. And statistically, Canada has the best team. They have all first round draft picks. We all know Gavin McKenna will be a first round draft pick, more than likely first overall. So on paper, they have an absolutely stacked team. And then, Dan, I will get to your point. But I do wonder, is it because everything is so floated in their head that they're like, that they're, as Mitch Marner would say, they're treated like gods? Is that potentially causing a problem? But before we get into that point, Dan has been waiting so patiently. I mean, he's changed hats. He threw his hat at the CN Tower.
I did. That's how far up the box has gone. Not the top at the CN Tower. So shame on the CN Tower.
But what's your thoughts, Dan, besides the CN Tower?
Well, okay. So one thing I just gotta say here, okay? I think Gavin McKenna is really cute. I give him a lot of credit for saying fifth place win is not good enough for his country, because it's not. Anything that's not gold is an epic fail. 100%. We all know that. Yeah, but everyone's saying that Gavin McKenna is going to be the first overall pick. Jacob just said it 30 seconds ago. So, first overall pick, you're putting yourself as Sidney Crosby, Connor McDavid, Connor Bedard. Insert name here. And what? I have not seen Gavin McKenna take over this team and dominate it like a first overall pick. Because in the World Juniors in the past, Connor Bedard put the team on his back and won. Connor McDavid put the team on his back and won. Sidney Crosby put his team back and won. Gavin McKenna, if you want to be the next guy, wake up and do it.
Well, I will say with Gavin McKenna, he's going to be the first.
That was a nice pass, though.
Well, it was. Oh yeah, his assist tonight was beautiful. But
one assist. There was 12 goals in the game. If it was Connor McDavid in a 12-goal game, he would have got 5 of them.
But do I think Gavin McKenna is Connor McDavid level when they were both the same age? No, I don't.
He wants to be.
Well, sure. I want to be Connor McDavid.
Do it.
I want to be. I can't. I'd have to go. I'd literally have to go to the gym now and not leave for 6 to 8 weeks. Dan's getting a fair point in the.
Thank you.
But and as Sam said, he's just here cheering for the two Barry Colts. That is one thing.
Oh, 100%. Barry Colts are my team. That is the OG Barry days. Jacob and I grew up in Barry.
Really fun about the World Juniors. You get a chance to cheer for your favorite junior players, whether they're on Canada or Latvia or Switzerland or Sweden or
100%.
But I think, guys, it's time we move on because there were 3 other games today.
Yes. Good games, by the way.
So the next game I'd like to move on to is U.S. versus Germany. And by the score, it looks like the U.S. walked all over Germany. By statistics, it looks like U.S. walked over Germany. But this is why you watch the analyst desk and you don't just read the box score on your computer or your cell phone or your tablet where you're taking a PP. You watch the analyst desk so we can break things down. And to be honest, I think in a lot of ways,
it was a similar game.
The U.S.-Germany game felt very similar to the Canada-Czechia game. I felt a lot of times, I felt Germany at points controlled play. You got to remember, this game was 4-3 at one point. The States pulled away after the German player threw that dirty hit from behind. I think that just really woke up America. Yeah, I think and either that or they just had the song Freebird stuck in their head, want to hear it a few more times. But I just feel like and I love this comment here. Sorry, I hate box scores more than Dan hates the CN Tower.
And so everyone knows I don't hate the CN Tower. I actually like the CN Tower. That's why I talk about it all the time. Just a little backstory. I was at a Toronto Blue Jay game last year, and they were doing a protest. The workers here are doing a protest on the CN Tower. So all these cute little kids are walking away from a Blue Jay game with a Blue Jay uniform. And this guy yells up on a megaphone, "Shame on the CN Tower!" I said, "Jacob, whoa, for protesting a building." And Jacob didn't believe me. So he comes to the thing and comes with me next game. He's like, "Yeah, dude, you're right. You're protesting building. What I don't understand of these things, okay? So they're protesting, shame on CN Tower. Don't go to CN Tower." And then once the negotiations were done, they're back working at the CN Tower. So people didn't go and wouldn't have a job. So I just can't figure it out.
I agree with Sam. Dan secretly hates the CN Tower. I think he's afraid of all buildings that are taller than an apartment building. I used to live in Burlington.
No, I love heights. In fact, a few of my friends have done the CN Tower edge walk, and I want to do it, but it's too expensive. Give us some more likes and views and subscribes and stuff, and maybe I'll even do the edge walk.
But I am curious what you guys
maybe do a show from the edge walk.
No.
I'll just be like, oh, and mine never looks like tiny ants down there.
But I am curious what you guys thought about this Team USA versus Team Germany. I will say, I think one of my biggest concerns for Team USA is their goaltending. I didn't think the goaltending looked great today for Team USA at all. And again, I think if Germany doesn't shoot themselves in the foot as much as they do, I think Germany maybe wins this game. So I thought obviously the U.S. has talent coming out of their butt. Like this group is so bloody talented. Cole Hudson, I think, might be better than Lane Hudson. Like not right this second, but with proper development.
Yeah,
And
sure. Washington's got a nice deal
an
with him.
NHL shot today. Like this U.S. team has talent coming out their butts. But when this USA team has to face a Sweden or even a Slovakia, if they play the way they did today, I think they will lose. I'm curious. I'm going to let Dan go first because Dan's sitting there all cute, blocking his light, sitting too close to his mic. What are your thoughts, Dan?
Well, I just want to give a quick little note, not so much a flop, a quick little note.
Talk about the
Mr. Dasko and I did the simulation of the PlayStation 5, and the scores were way off. However, it did predict that the U.S. would over double for shots of Germany. And guess what happened? The U.S. got over double for shots. It also predicted that the Canada and Czech game will have 12 goals in the game. And guess what happened? There was 12 goals in the game. So it wasn't completely all off. But, yeah, I do agree with you, Jacob, that the if you want to watch those games, by the way, you can watch them on YouTube.
Worth the
Lane and I
while
commentate the games.
Because Dan and Lane's commentary is the best.
Yeah, 100%. But, I agree with Jacob.
He's like,
I'm using this mic.
It's playing so bad, I'm allergic to it. Like, if they can barely beat Germany like that, I mean, they got to wake up for the other games there. I feel like there was something a little missing with U.S. today. But as crazy as it sounds, I think I prefer the way the U.S. played today over Canada. I hate saying that as a Canadian fan, but thank you. I appreciate that.
Today. As soon as I put in be respectful, they're all afraid that I'm going to give them the old kicking caboodle, and now they're being.
I don't know. I'm going to call a spade a spade. If I got to, what Jacob has said on the past, if you're going to call it one side, you got to call it the other side. You can't be like, well, these guys, but no, I'm going to be a spade a spade. I think it was the same thing. It's like, you got an empty net goal, you won. Woohoo. Otherwise, it's like at the end of the day, it was the same game. I feel like the States are in the same boat. Like, you looked at that, they showed that graphic tonight, right? Of the last, I think it's 6 championships. It's like Canada, US, Canada, Canada, US, whatever. My point is, I do think that there is sort of an ego for both countries. I think it happens. I just, like Jacob said, you come in, these are the two countries. They're in the 4 nations together. They always seem to meet the Olympics in the finals. These two countries, both Canada and the USA, feel like they're on that. They feel like they're that song, but that terrible rap song that I'm on a new level.
I like that song.
I can't believe Batista ever picked that as his flop book song, but that's what the
yeah.
But I feel like they think they're on this level, but and maybe sometime and maybe in the Olympic stage they are, but I still feel like these countries, they're getting closer and closer, right? Like even Germany, right? Even Germany's a country we talked about before. Is Germany better than Czechia? I don't know. It's debatable. You could say, Adam said, Czechia is more deep, but Germany created more top end talent. They've got, you've your Draisaitl, your Mert Seider, JJ Paterka. They might have more high end stars, but Czechia has a lot of more depth. So you have to look at these countries, especially with Sweden and Finland. These countries are still respectable. They are all good in their own ways. They compete. They come to the stage. So I feel like even on this stage, you saw it tonight where the States, I thought they kind of felt like, we're going to come in here. We're playing in our hometown. We're playing Germany. This should be an easy game. And the Germans don't give you an easy game because this tournament is not an easy tournament.
No, this tournament's gotten so much harder. And one thing I found interesting, not a sellout for the USA versus Germany game today. Fell short of about 3,000.
Okay, but this is what I understand. Why do they play at 5:00? You're the host country.
That's a good point.
And I didn't understand.
Can I actually tell you why? Because I actually know why. Because I'm really
They're the
smart.
host country.
It's broadcast rights.
So,
because TSN's the main broadcaster, they want Team Canada in the primetime spot.
That's crazy.
I agree, but that's what it is.
Wow, good point.
That's what it is. For opening day, you got to remember, whether you guys will admit this or not with me, television, when it comes to sports, is king. And they want the top-rated sports to be at the top-rated segment times to make sure that they get the most money out of this tournament. The USA does not put nearly as much into World Juniors for broadcasting rights as what TSN does in Canada. You gotta remember, TSN, they will get more viewers for this than almost anything that they will do besides maybe the Grey Cup. And yeah, good to see you
Money
again, Wilder.
talks.
Money talks.
Hey, welcome
As
back,
Sam
Wilder.
says,
Like Shane
TV
McMahon
deals make the
says.
most money. We like
Oh,
money.
sports show comes back in money.
But I do agree with Sam as well. I think it's crazy. I'm actually surprised in Minnesota they're not selling more tickets to games. And the Canada game was a little quiet too.
Oh, it was empty.
I know we have another comment from Key. Well,
Let's
I honestly
go.
haven't heard from Adam in a hot minute, and I don't have much beef with the U.S. team because I used to live there. But some years rivalry might not be as tight. I think this is the year it might not be as fierce. Key doesn't think the Canada USA rivalry will be as fierce.
I totally disagree with that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Key has asked on that one.
Money doesn't talk; it swears.
Where is that?
Yeah, that's right.
Adam, you still there, boss?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I thought you got abducted.
Just didn't have anything to say.
Wow.
I thought he got abducted. I was like, I'm just going to start looking for him.
It's like Eminem abducting Dr. Dre.
Dr. Dre said,
Yeah.
you
Not the
Dr.
idiots, he's locked in my basement.
Yeah,
The
literally.
reason there wasn't a sellout is because the U.S. doesn't care about this tournament. I'm surprised none of you actually brought that up. Nobody's brought it up. The U.S. don't care about it.
Ouch.
No,
Why don't they
no,
care? They
it
do.
isn't
You
an
guys do
ouch,
well in it.
Dan. It's just a fact. I'm like,
They don't care the way Canada does.
no, because the U.S. don't give a crap about hockey. Well, I'm surprised.
I disagree
none
about
of you
that.
should be really surprised by that. Like,
Four
what's the
Nations,
top
it was
four
not like
sports in-
that.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah,
baseball,
Four Nations was
football,
heated.
Like, hockey is not like basketball. Like, all of these sports are above hockey in the States. Nobody in the state,
For sure.
nobody outside of hockey fans know about the World Juniors in the States. You can go on the streets of like New York and be like, do you know that the World Juniors is going on right now? No, that's what the heck that is. Because they don't know what it is because they don't care. It's not one of the main sports in the States. Like,
But do you think
sure, sure, US teams are winning the cup, but like no, and it's not even that they're like, it's the state
sure.
of hockey.
Sure.
Like Minnesota is the state of hockey, but like that doesn't mean that like everybody there cares about hockey. It's just the way it is sometimes. Like some people just don't want to go and watch hockey. It is Boxing Day. It is the holiday. Some people are with family. Like it may be different in other places, but it isn't. I will say the World Juniors is like more so of like
We were wondering about that too, Wilder. That's a
like holiday. It is like a holiday. It's more so of a holiday here than it is state.
That's a great comment, Wilder, because you notice if you watch the TV production and even look at the boards, there are no gambling ads on the boards in the stadium, and it's no gambling ads on TV. And the reason for that is because these players are under 18, you can't really bet on them.
But I think you can bet on the team's results. Can you not?
Well, then there would definitely be more gambling advertising. You know what? Maybe we'll have to boot up one of the gambling apps. Maybe that should be a show one day. Lane can teach Dan and I how to gamble.
Let's look this up right now.
But yeah, it's interesting, Sam. I do agree with you. I think, but by the time I would even say by the time New Year's hits, like when the U.S. plays Sweden, I'm expecting a much bigger crowd for. It could even just because too it's U.S. Germany. But overall, I think we can agree the U.S.
I think Minnesota a little bad weather too.
Well, Jacob, I also want to point out like one thing that hasn't been pointed out so far that could be a concern for the United States is that I actually looked up the face-off percentage leaders right now after one game.
Mm-hmm.
And like the U.S. had the top guy in LJ Mooney. Okay. And then the next U.S. player is 6, 11, and then 15, 18. 3 players have over 50. 5 players have over 50% for the States right now. But it's like there's 5-1 for LJ Mooney took 6 faceoffs. He's won 5. Hagens was 10 and 4. Anthony Spalacy was 8 and 5. Cole McKinney was 7 and 6. Like they aren't exactly great
6,
percentages,
7.
but like could be of a concern for the United States of America is that their face-off percentage after one game isn't exactly amazing. But like outside of the only team with more than two players in the top 10 right now is Canada. They have 3 of the top 10 players face-off percentage wise. All 3 of those guys are over 72%. Denmark has 2.
Look at that.
Sweden has 1. Czechia has 1.
You could bet on this tournament.
Slovakia has 1.
Point.
It is like it could be of a concern for the United States, but like I don't think it's that big of a deal. They have multiple players over 50%.
However, Adam, I do agree with you when you look at some of these. You look at how many power play setups are literally set up off winning the draw. And if you're desperate needing a goal at the key moment and you can't win the face-off versus, we'll say, Canada towards the end or Czechia or whoever you're facing, that is an interesting point. Lane and both Wilder checked. You can bet on the World Juniors, which is an interesting factoid.
You can't bet on players specifically. You can't pick like
that makes
Oh, that's what it is.
I still find it weird betting on children.
You can't bet like, oh, Gavin McKenna will get 3 points.
Like betting on baby races.
But you can. So, for example, the line for tomorrow for Canada is Canada is favorited by 5.5 goals, which means if you wanted to say that means if you pick Canada, it means you have to win by at least 6. So if Latvia scores 1, you got to win 7. You got to score 7.
6.
So basically, you could pick Latvia plus 5 goals. You pick Latvia plus 5.5. You would start with a 5 goal lead.
But Jacob, I will say, like
Dan's being called out for the 6-7 reference, which is kind of funny because Dan's the oldest one on the pod. I'm
going away a little bit from the betting with my comment here, but I do want to say, like, I will say again, like I said with Canada, like I will say I'm not concerned yet for the United States. I don't think it was amazing how they played. I think goaltending should still be a little bit of a concern. I will say, if any country had a little bit more of an ego today, I would say the U.S. looked more. Like it looked like the U.S. were more playing a little bit more with a little bit too much confidence and had a little bit too much of a big ego, bigger than I think Canada did.
Okay, that's fair.
I do want to point out, though, that some of the comments ahead of the game makes me think Canada wants to work for this because of the way Gavin McKenna has talked and the way of some of the other returning players. I haven't really seen that much out of the United States. They are the defending champions.
The States have nothing to prove. They've won 2 in a row.
They still do have something to prove, Jacob.
We want to build a dynasty.
Won 2 in a row. Like, still winning 2 in a row is cool and everything.
It's legendary.
But the it's legendary. It's cool as shit. But like a lot of these players, are coming. Like, not all of these players are coming back from last year. Of course, a lot of them graduated away. But some of like the younger guys, like they still got stuff to prove. They didn't win 2 in a row. Hagens is one. Like a lot of the even players from last year. Like, they weren't all returning guys last year. Like, there's still stuff. Like, you may win 2 in a row. Canada won 5 straight tournaments. But every year, you still got to go out and prove.
But no one cares about those 5 wins now.
But nobody also, like, nobody in 5 years is going to care that the United States won 2 in a row, and it's considered legendary right now. They still got to go prove out they're the best nation.
I guess what I mean by that, though, is, Adam, I don't feel you have as much to prove when you've won 2 in a row versus a team that hasn't medaled in the last 2. Right, like I think Canada does have more of a. They feel they failed the last couple years. And Dan, I don't take it as far as you. I don't think Canada has to win gold every year. I think this is part of the problem.
You gotta make the gold medal game at least.
Hear me out, because I think people. I'm calling you out, Mr. Morpho. I called out mainstream. I got to call out box stream media from Dan, and I'm gonna say, like, expecting Canada to win gold every year in a tournament with this much talent is unrealistic. However, I do think every year Canada should be in the medal round.
Yeah.
100%. Like, at least make it to the Final Four. I think that's a realistic expectation.
Yeah.
But I think we all have the same thought process on the USA game. A win's a win, but they need to be better. They don't really have any hard competition until their 3rd game of the tournament when they play Slovakia. I think Slovakia is a better team than people give them credit.
I got to say quickly, too, Vo, I know we moved on, go time factor, but I'd love the debate between Lane and Adam about the different skill levels of a different country. And I feel like we could possibly do a whole episode on that. So if you guys want to hear something like that, put that in the comments or email us in the email there, and maybe we'll do that in the future.
The Analyst Desk Sports Show at gmail.com. But now, This game, I think there's not too much to talk about, in my opinion. I think Finland came, they saw, they conquered. I thought
This was
Denmark
a
did
weird
look
test,
better.
to be honest.
I will give Denmark credit. I thought they played better in the third period, but I mean, this game was easy for Finland. Finland was expected to beat Denmark. They beat Denmark. I don't really have any complaints.
I agree. I mean, get on Denmark getting 2 goals, but
I think we're all kind of on that
the
same.
goals do add up. If there's a tiebreaker in the tournament, it goes by who gets the most goals. So,
Wilder, this is more of an all-star tournament now. That's an interesting take.
Point.
I wouldn't agree because there's actually hitting, and like I think there's more passion than there is in an all-star game.
True.
But I could see that it is certainly an all-star where it's a sense of the best players from the leagues under the age. It's realistically a development tournament.
Yeah, for sure.
But are we all in the agreement about Finland, Denmark? I don't think there's too much we really need to say about it.
Yeah, for sure.
My only concern for Finland might be the goaltender. 2 goals on 10 shots certainly isn't great.
No.
Especially the first goal I thought was pretty bad. He let in off a really bad rebound. But I'm not worried about Finland. I think they looked ready to go. And Finland doesn't seem to take opponents lightly. Finland's one of those countries that their roster, everyone says, isn't that great. Next thing you know, they're playing for a medal.
That's the thing. They're also the underdog of this tournament. They also supply someone.
So I think, are we ready to move on to the final game of the day?
Yes, I think
Yes,
so.
sir.
What do you think, Adam? Oh, okay,
Sure.
Cool.
And that would be Sweden versus Slovakia. And look, I'm going to say this. I think Slovakia
You know
is a much
3-2 equals 5, which almost equals the score of 6-7.
Oh, Sam's going to rage. I would say I feel very similar. I think Sweden underestimated Slovakia. I thought there were times Slovakia on their first power play of the game had, to dance 6-7. Slovakia's first power play of the game, they had 6 shots on net. The Slovakia team looked very hungry. It came down to a really high skill play by, I'm trying to remember his name now, but he's a guy that some people are saying may get drafted ahead of Gavin McKenna in the entry draft this year. And
right.
Look, I think Sweden's a very good team, but I also think they're going to look at this game and be like, okay, we need to be better because this even if they won this in overtime, this could have totally screwed them in this group with the US and Finland in this group.
Why? 100%.
I think the winner of that group has to win out in regulation.
Like I would say Sweden's kind of in a similar boat of US and Canada. Yeah, they got the 3 points. That's a whole other thing we got to talk about. We talked about index before. Good racing win here is worth 3 points, not 2 like the crazy NHL. They got the 3 points, which is fantastic, but they barely got that. So as the tournament gets deeper and as injuries come up and as the skill level gets more and more tough as the tournament goes on, it could be really hard to win those tighter games if you can barely beat a team like Slovakia. But give Slovakia credit. Everyone underestimates Slovakia. They looked really good today. Same with Czechia. They looked really good as well. Jeremy still needs a bit of work. We're on the right track.
How's everyone else feeling on this game? Are we all kind of agreeing with Dan?
Pretty much, yeah.
What are your thoughts, Adam?
Sweden weren't great. Just need to be better. I don't even think it's like, I think it's the same issue at times with like even Canada. Like I feel like this is like a big issue with a lot of the bigger teams. Like, and I thought it like in mostly every tournament is that some of the bigger nations that kind of start slower and then like build off of like and continue to build as like the chemistry comes together. And I think that's a big thing that people don't talk about is like the chemistry like portion of a lot of it. Cause a lot of these like smaller countries, like a lot of these players play together a lot more than they do here. For because they play on basically the same teams most of the time.
Right,
like Czechia, Czechia is not a small hockey nation.
No.
Like given the players they've produced and given like the type of results they've had, like they're not exactly a small hockey nation like Slovakia. Like all of these like more European nations, they play more together from like young to like when they're like even in like just the junior leagues, like right before they play as adults. And I think that like that gets into the effect of these guys have played together longer, they played together more. Team Canada's kind of spread out all across the country. So I think it just becomes an interesting point of like chemistry. I don't think Sweden were exactly horrible today. They just need to start better on time. Like I think they started really late. I think they made things a little bit easy for Slovakia to start with. But yeah, just like start on time, be better. I don't think their goaltending was horrendous. I don't think they did exactly wrong. But they just definitely need to start on time and be more dominant, because this Sweden team is amazing. This Sweden team is not a team to underestimate in this tournament. They are really good.
Realistically, this Sweden team should probably be the best team in the, I think, realistically, talent-wise, they're right up there with Canada. Stenberg, was the Swedish player that people are saying may get drafted higher than Gavin McKenna.
Well,
but you have Stenberg, you have Anton Frendell. Like this Eklund, like this Sweden team is absolutely stacked.
Well, the other thing I was just going to say,
stacked, though. Sweden team is always stacked, but they're like a big thing for them is like winning. Like no, it's more like they're hubris. I think hubris, like them being undefeated. I don't remember how long the actual streak was, but they were like 60 plus 0 in like the group stages for a long time. And like it was just their dominant streak in there. But when it got to the medal rounds, I don't know what happened with them, but it just like the games got tight. And I think their skill, like I think they're big. Like Sweden are bigger this year than they have been in the past. I think Sweden just have a lot of like real skilled guys. I think when the physicality gets tighter, when we get to the medal rounds, is where they struggle a little bit more. And their goaltending has always been a little bit of a struggle in the last like 5 or 10 years. But
what's on your brain, Mr. Lane?
Oh, I did forget to bring this up earlier, but I wanted your opinion on this. Gas or ass?
Oh, I get to
play
my favorite bumper. Gas or gas. Or is it ass?
So I don't know, because no one's talked about this. So I don't know if you guys know. This is the first time that in the World Juniors, a team has been allowed to use a goal horn that's not in an actual goal horn. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but Team Canada is actually not using an official goal horn. They're using the Blue Jays. Bow, 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 when they hit a home run up the center field. They're using the Blue Jays home run horn. Is that a gas or ass? I think it's a gas. I did not know that.
Gas.
Saw it on Twitter, and I'm like, that's gas. That's amazing.
I heard it on the game today. Gas 100%. I think it brings a new element and a new level. Same how each team can pick their own goal song. I think picking Tragically Hip is a nice class act. I gotta say, though, I think we should have picked classifieds old Canada, since Canada loves their beavers. But hey, I think Tragically Hip's a good option.
I'm also Sam's saying gas in the chat. I'm also going with gas. I don't have a problem with it. I think it's kind of cool. Connecting.
Some people are mad about it though.
Run.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, a horn's a horn, so I don't have a problem with it. What's your thought on it, Adam?
Don't really care. Didn't care when I saw it. Don't care much. 5 hours after I learned it. Didn't care when I learned earlier today about it. Didn't really care now, because
to put in perspective, Adam, there's been people on social media complaining about it, saying it doesn't belong in hockey.
Because Jacob, people like to complain. Like people are just complaining about nothing. Like it doesn't matter. Is it going to affect
Dan about the CN Tower?
No.
Blame on the CN Tower.
Anything happens, doesn't really matter.
I do have a point to add to Lane's point about small countries. You look at Finland, for example. I think Finland players play with each other over time, because Finland has a population of under 6 or 7 million. So, a population that little, you're going to play with the same players over time.
Yeah, Finland actually has around the same population as Toronto.
But 5 million people is under 6 or 7.
Also, thing to point out, Finland's top, like all the Finland players go to like the Swedish league and play in like the Swedish Elite League. Like I don't even think Finland has its own top league, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that.
So, and Adam, Sam is very proud of you.
I was never scared. I was just too lazy to change my name.
But now I think it's time to look ahead. And by looking ahead,
well, there's a comment here about the Jeremy's goaltender.
I did not see that.
From
I apologize.
Wilder.
And we got to get
All
the
of
Keith
these
comment
teams,
too
like,
about
it
the
always
Blue
ends up
Jays.
happening.
I just wanted to get through all the World Junior stuff, and then Key, don't worry, we will talk some Blue Jays because we go where the comment section goes. Yeah, I thought the German goalie, I thought one goal I didn't like, but overall, I mean, he really gave his team a chance to win.
He played fantastic.
I thought I was a little surprised they didn't pull him for the third just to rest him because they play Slovakia tomorrow, and I think they have a better chance of beating Slovakia than they did beating the States.
For sure, I agree.
Unless maybe their other goalie's even better than him. We don't know.
Well, no, that they might just go with him again. Like, but like we've seen that happen before because it's their best goalie. Just like I know Latvia did that last year. Latvia went to a shootout the night before, and then Latvia went to the exact same goalie the next day for their next game, which was crazy.
That is nuts.
It was very strange. But like I think that's the thing. Like, I don't think, like, I remember, like, over the last like decade, I don't know how long it's been, like, I felt this, but like a lot of the teams who are like very like the smaller countries, a lot of their goalies like end up stealing the show. Like, I know last year or 2 years ago, one of the team's goalies wasn't drafted for like 2 straight years. And then like he just stole the World Juniors. I was like, he's probably gonna get picked this year.
That was the Latvia goalie, funny enough, from last year.
Latvia goalie, yeah, he was just so good.
Was that the guy? Oh, last year, maybe a couple of years ago. Because a couple of years ago, I was going from Vancouver.
I think even like Thomas Milek, who like when he came for Canada, I don't think he was even selected in the draft the year before.
Why?
Like, he like, just stole the net for Canada and went on winning.
From what I'm seeing, he isn't drafted yet.
Makes sense, I guess.
Never comment here about Philippe.
I found his elite prospects. Sorry, Dan, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm just looking at his stats. He currently plays for ECC Berlin. I can't pronounce the other word. And it doesn't say anything about NHL rights, so I don't believe he's drafted at the moment.
How old is he?
Maybe watch out for him, see how he does.
How old is he, Jacob?
He's an age.
Well,
I'm getting, the only thing I hate about Elite Prospect, you get all these damn pop-ups.
Does it not show you his age?
It says his name.
Oh, wow.
What he's done. There's 28,669 people who viewed him. Great number. He's 19.
Oh, okay. So then, yeah. Well, he's still eligible for this year then.
Cool.
He's 19.
7th round pick or something like that.
Very well could be. But, okay. Let's move on to, but yeah, he has not been drafted yet. But now let's look ahead. And when I say look ahead, I want to look ahead to tomorrow because we have more games on the docket coming up.
Oh,
tomorrow's going to be a fun day of games again. Yeah, plays earlier at least.
So what game are we looking forward to tomorrow?
Well, of course, we're looking to see if Canada can learn those lessons. Like John Tavares likes to talk about lessons a lot. We'll see if they can learn their lesson against Latvia and get some little revenge. And of course, we're gonna talk, of course, to USA Switzerland. And for those who hadn't seen, me and Dan Moore did the games today. And after we're wrapping up recording tonight, we're gonna be doing those games tonight. So you got to follow on the analyst desk on our Facebook and YouTube to see the simulations of USA Switzerland and Latvia versus Canada.
I'm more excited for Slovakia against Germany.
I was going to say that's the game I'm looking for.
Like, that game's going to be amazing. That game's going to be so much fun. I can't wait for that game. That game's going to be a great game. Latvia versus Canada, and it's just like it's going to be a game, but it's like I care more about seeing, like, just again what Layton just said, like the progress from last game and seeing them pick up coverages better. And like I know, Jacob, you had said earlier that you don't think we'll really see like a big difference, like in this game, just because we're not playing a bigger nation.
Yeah.
Like you can, I just want to see them. Because a big issue tonight was them missing coverages and them just trying, like, not rotating and missing the players that they're supposed to be picking up and just not doing just having a brain fart. That's all I want to see. Those are stuff you can obviously see because you'll see the improvement because you won't see those goals given up. But it's like, that's all I want to see tomorrow. I think offensively they're fine. It's just being better defensively in front of your goalie. That's really all it is at this point. You don't need to be like amazing defensively. You just need to be good. You need to be good defensively in front of your goalie. That's all I ask for.
Yeah, 100%.
What are your thoughts, Dan?
I don't remember. I gotta say, oh my gosh, wow. I just had a blank camp. I'm very sorry, everybody. Tomorrow. Oh yes, that's what I was going to say. You gotta give a huge shout out. Lane knows Mike Doherty gentleman's name or handle. I don't know on top of my head, but huge shout out to the gentleman that loaded up all the minor international team, junior teams rosters into the EA game, and even had the divisions properly. So like when we played Canada, it was in the Minnesota stadium, and when it was playing the America game, it was in the Minnesota Wild Stadium. So whoever did that, thank you so much for doing that. Saved a lot of work for Lane.
I will give you. I know I forgot to shout him out on our first record, but before we start our second record, I'll make sure to get your name and we will give you a shout out, because that has been a huge help. And sharing is caring, right?
100%. Yeah, because Lane does so much work in making all of this happen. He usually, like we did the Blue Jays, he put all the rosters together. So for someone to do this, it saves a lot of work. So thank you.
But absolutely, and yeah, it's always good to shout out other creators. Like I'm kind of on Adam's side on these games. So for I guess now today here, because it's after midnight, I'm really looking forward to see how Germany stacks up to Slovakia, and kind of see, was Slovakia and Sweden, was that just Sweden not being ready, or Slovakia actually taking that next step? And same with Germany. Was it that the States weren't ready? If that's a really close contested game, I think it's going to show that both of those clubs are a lot better.
Yeah, 100%. So I think
at that point, unless Lane, is there something you wanted to show us?
Well, I know that Key has a comment about the baseball.
Oh, right. Let me bring that key of key, back up.
And Wilder had a comment about the Leafs. I want to address that comment too.
Let's get to Keys first.
100%.
Patiently waiting to get through all the hate and see whether or not she can even weather the storm.
A lot of comments. Thank you, everyone, for the great comments. And please subscribe if you haven't yet. That helps the algorithms, which means we can do it from you. So please subscribe to YouTube, give those emojis, likes, or shares, and follow us on our Facebook and all our social medias like TikToks and all that. See short form videos, and listen to our iHeartRadio and Spotify for pre-recorded episodes. And more we get from you, the more we can do for you. So thank you, everyone.
So, Lane, you have a way to answer Key's question here, though, better about Savage than I think I can. I'm personally not concerned, though. No, but
no. So if you don't mind sharing the screen, because I do have an answer. So I just wanted to make sure I had it right. But yes, basically in all the MLB contracts, and I'm wondering if this is going to be something that is addressed in the CBA more than the salary itself, is the rights that you get. You basically, when you get drafted to an MLB team, every player, and it's a big reason why Dalton Varsho was traded, because you get this thing called control. And even when you acquire a player, you get their control. So a good example is you get 10 years, you get 5. The first 6 years, you basically, the team dictates what you make, basically through arbitration, rookie pay scale, how your performance has been. But they basically pick your salary. You have to play with it. The next 5 or so years, you get to go to like a lawyer if you so want to. But typically, the teams get to mostly win the deals. So you're basically stuck with your team for 10 years on a lower end salary. A big reason why Dalton Varsho was traded to the Blue Jays, it was because they had so much.
You scared me for a second. I thought Blue Jays traded him. I'm like, what?
No, I'm saying when they acquired him, the big reason why they did that, and they traded out so many players like Lourdes Gurriel and this guy and Gabriel Moreno, and everyone's like, well, they're trading all these players. Yeah, because you had 4 years of Dalton Varsho and you had 4 years of control, which means every year, no matter what Dalton Varsho does on the field, you basically get to say, you get to make this much, we can justify it, off you go, have fun. So for anyone concerned that Trey Savage isn't signed, he's not going anywhere for at least 10 years.
Wow.
A lot of years.
Whether that's
Years.
fair or not, in the NHL, it's about 8. I
That's
think
a
it's
whole other debate, actually.
I know in the NHL,
Yeah,
8. I
that'd be
don't
a
know how
whole
much is
other
in basketball.
episode.
I think basketball is another weird one where if you play for your team for more than 5, I believe it's 5. I could be wrong, but I believe it's 5 years, and you get the Larry Bird rule, which basically means you can sign for whatever.
I like Larry Bird.
You can
That's a
sign
great
for like
comment, Dan. Thank you.
your salary doesn't. Your salary doesn't count toward the luxury tax.
Cool. Thank you, Lane, for the info.
I don't know how football works, though. I don't know how I mean, that's one sport I don't understand, but the rookie contracts and everything.
Oh, Sam's our never baseball expert here, so he just came in with a comment about this.
And then we'll get to Wilder's comment.
You get 6 years
Trey
of
will be in
control.
Toronto for 5 more years. Once you get called up, your team have 6 years of control.
But then you can do the arbitration thing for 4 more, I think.
Actually, 6 more.
You can
6
still
or
do
Damn,
seven.
you have no idea how tempted both Dan and I are to say another number, but maybe we won't.
I just
Dan
did.
and I. Oh,
you get
Dan
6 years, but then you get an extra. I think you get an extra 3 or 4 years where you can go to arbitration. It's weird. It's a whole thing.
That's interesting, but let's Wilder. Sorry, guys. There's a lot of comments today, which again we appreciate.
Thank
all
you,
the
everybody.
comments. Oh, also arbitration starts at year 3, according to Sam, who is a baseball connoisseur.
Yeah,
Remember
Sam.
to check out the Barry Bay Cats and other teams in that
Yes.
awesome baseball league. Which
Yeah,
I
just
still keep
stars a
wanting to
new
call
league.
the IBL. I apologize.
Now it's called the Canadian Baseball League, and Sam actually works for the Barry Bay Cats, and he's going to be helping us with some baseball articles, and we'll be on the show when we talk some baseball stuff. So,
I
definitely
have
keep an eye out for
the
him.
rule for I have the explanation of the Larry Bird rules, by the way, guys.
Yeah. Okay. Explain that to me
I
again.
looked this up. So
It's weird.
before the Larry Bird rules. So a team can re-sign their free agents even if they exceed the salary cap. To do so, a player must have spent the last 3 years in a row with the
3
same
years.
team or on the same contract.
That is
It's
interesting.
kind of
Crazy.
different, I think, depending on
I do it all the time
rookies and stuff.
when I play NBA 2K. I'll draft guys for 3 years. I'll trade away my whole roster. Draft everybody in the first. We're like playing for 3. We're like, now you have to start my team for the rest. You're my slave now. I'm gonna.
So I have more of the
boy.
explanation now. Actually, there's more. A free agent is counted in the payment depending on what his salary was and what bird rights he has. Depending on this, a club can relinquish bird rights to a player, then the cap hold will be removed. But such a player can only be re-signed for a place under the salary cap or an exception. Cap hold will disappear as soon as the player signs a contract with the old or new team.
It's crazy.
It kind of,
Interesting.
yeah, it's weird. Like there's non-bird. So with the bird rights, there's 2 different kinds. There's non-bird, which you have only 1 year on the team, and early bird, which is 2 years. So it's a year before you get the full one. Basically, it's really weird.
It's actually
the
something I wish
the
hockey would
NBA
do.
rules, the NBA rules for that stuff is just really complicated. They've changed the rule a bunch since they started it.
I have a guess for us.
Thank you, Gasso Ass. There we go.
Yeah. it'd be
Thank you,
awesome.
Adam, for the information, by the way. And thank you, Key, for the great question. We're talking about quite a bit here.
Yeah. Yes, there is. Or is it ass?
I'm going to ask it because me and my friend have debated this for years. I'm actually on his side. I see why some were others. Do you wish the NHL would give, let's just say you could pick one player that if you drafted him, that you get to basically get his cap. He gets his money, but it doesn't count towards the book because you drafted him, you've developed him. So, for example, Matthews, he spends 8 years on the lease. If he hits a certain amount of years, you get his cap for free. That way, he's incentivized the players to stay with the team, but you can also go and improve. And if you had that, the Leafs may be able to keep a talented team of Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews, and all these players, and not regard to paying because you could pick 1 or 2 guys and be like where they're going to get their salary, and then you can still bring in top free agents and incentivize teams to stay better, not sell, because you actually want to keep the players you draft get them to a point instead of always trading them off to somewhere else or, dumping them for a first-round pick in 5 years.
I'm not
Ass.
a fan personally. I'm going to say ass on it.
Why?
I just don't
Adam, go
like
ahead.
it. No, I will say, like, I get where you're coming from with the rule, wanting to like have NHL teams keep more of like the players they've drafted and all of this. But I think when you start doing stuff like that, it's going to get to the point where it's going to get too complicated, because then teams are going to start wanting multiple spots for that. And I think, like, I know with, so I'll take a rule from another league. So the MLS, so they have the, what's it called exactly? It's called the designated players. So they're DPs, and they have for every, so their league has like really low salaries and stuff. So they have 3 spots that they can overpay players basically. And they can bring in players from like Europe and like other leagues around the world, and they basically can pay them whatever the heck they want to. Like, I know Lionel Messi's making like, he's making like over $1 million a year right now. He's making a lot of money. Like, I know David Beckham came over, and that was a big thing. Like, he got paid a lot of money to play over here stateside.
Mhm.
But it's like, I think at that point, like, people hate that rule now. Like, MLS fans hate that rule, because it's just like the players get the money, but then they just don't care. And I don't think that will happen here in hockey. I don't, but I think the rule becomes too complicated. I think at a certain point it may just become too complicated, knowing NHL owners and knowing just how greedy owners have been in the past, and how that's led to like strikes and stuff, and how it's led to like definitely some like friction with like players and such. I know it's all like a lot of it's in the past, but I feel like it will become too complicated at some point. And I just feel like it's not even like it's cool in like thinking about it, but when you put it into reality, I don't think it will work. I'm
going to give a counter argument, right? So you think about, okay, you look at all the teams, right? You look at all the teams across the league, right? And you look at a team like, I don't know, let's just say Minnesota, for example. A lot of players might not want to play in Minnesota. So you're the Minnesota Wild. You're trying to build a team. You're trying to build a franchise. You're trying to bring fans in the building. You're trying to, sell these season tickets. But you pick these kids in the first round, and every 6 years they're leaving to go to play in LA. They're going to play in Montreal. They're going to play in Toronto. They're going to play in New York. They're going to play in these bigger markets because it's a bigger thing. But it's harder for the Minnesota Wild to keep these towns. But what if there's a way that they could keep these kids and say, you know what, we can stay competitive, because that $15 million that Kaprizov wants all of a sudden doesn't count, and we can go and get a Quinn Hughes. We can go and acquire a goalie, a big goalie like a Sergei Bobrovsky. And all of a sudden now you're
Bobrovsky.
Now all of a sudden Minnesota has Kaprizov, Bobrovsky, Quinn Hughes. You're not players who you draft might be like, well, now I want to play on Minnesota. They might win more cups. You might see more teams winning Stanley Cups instead of seeing, the Florida Panthers go on a 3-year run, the LA Kings go on a 3-year run, this team going on a 4-year run.
Do you not see how that could become complicated?
Yeah,
like
it also becomes fun though.
One player more than everybody else just because you can. It could lead to. I know it sounds like
it becomes more fun though.
But it's like, let's say they could do that. Let's say Kaprizov $17 million doesn't count against the salary.
Well, there'd still be a max salary.
I know it couldn't lead to issues, but I feel like once you add that, then like there could be issues with the salary cap. There could be other things that could be brought up that could lead to just like differing issues. And I feel like it sounds like I'm nitpicking it, but I don't know if it works in terms of like the salary cap. Like I don't know if it works. Like I just
What about you boys?
Well, Jacob, you go ahead.
Go ahead, Dan.
Okay. Thanks, Dan, for the comment. I don't think Jacob can post it. Maybe he'll post it. I don't know, but cool. I want to say,
okay, Dan, what the fart are you doing?
Yeah, I was having fun with the ball on my hat. I was doing like Rudolph with my nose. But anyway, now I'm speaking. I'm done with that. So, I'm going to say ass on this comment. Sorry, Mr. Daskell, but I do not agree. I love the fact of the drama of player movement. You look at the NHL, the busiest on trading deadline, the busiest in free agent besides this year. That was
I disagree on
Babe,
NHL.
what are you talking about?
NHL being the busiest free agency, Dan.
Well, I was going to say, it's like the CFL.
Basketball has way more exciting on free agency than
Still
NHL. What are you
ass.
talking about?
Oh,
The
I
CFL
don't know.
by far
What are
has
you
the most
talking
exciting free
about?
agency.
NBA free agency also kind of sucks.
It's nuts.
NBA free
CFL is
agency
the
just kinda
best free
boring.
agency, and
You already know where teams are going. You already know where players are going half the time before it even happens.
Oh,
I
marketing
don't care.
teams
All the
love the
business
idea.
happens
That's a
way
great
too
point.
early. It's so boring. I dislike NBA free agency more than I dislike NHL free agency in the past. Like, it's just so boring. Like, everything happens at like 1 o'clock in the morning. Like, the Anthony Davis deal happened at like, everybody knew it was happening
Players
like 2 hours before the deadline even opened.
100%.
Like, everybody
Woj
knew it was
bomb
already
is-
happening. It was announced
Everyone
like
gets
1
excited for
o'clock
the
in the
Woj
morning.
bomb.
It was just boring. Like, I don't know. Like, it was
I
cool that
disagree,
you saw
Adam.
the Woj bomb, but then like nothing else happened that could like even like
I
wage
disagree.
up to that.
I disagree
No, that-
100%.
Like, I just think it happened, and then it was like, oh, cool. Everybody already knew that was going to happen because everybody knew he wanted to go to LA. Everybody knew he was going to LA.
Nobody knew that Kevin Durant was going to get traded to Houston, but here we are.
Well, no, nobody did. But like, there are like, it's cool. KD got traded, but like nobody really cares because KD just does this so often. Like, it bores me because the same things happen all the time. Just so boring to me.
I just got two other comments about this. Another reason why I think is asked too is, let's say you draft a young player and you want to keep him because he looks fantastic. So you sign him to like a 15-year contract, like Ricky Pietro or whatever the case may be. And then we're in year 9 and it turns out to be like Captain Underpants and you desperately want to get rid of him. And you can't because you signed him for a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah, but Dan,
the other flip side of this too, just quickly I want to point this out, is I could see this bad for the player because it could be a switching bait. You could sign the player really cheap to make him stay and then use him as trade bait. But
no, because Dan, there would still be rules in place. Like you can in the NBA, you can only sign 5-year contracts, and you still have to pick. There's still a certain number you have to be under. So it's not like you're not just going to go sign Kaprizov for 3 years for $3 million because it's not going to count towards the cap. There's still regulations you have to abide by, but you get to have a player that you've developed that the fans love because you've watched this kid since you were 18. He's been on your team. You've marketed around him. Now you get a salary.
That's what Sam was talking about in our comments.
Yeah. Sam's giving you some flowers, Lane. I know you can buy yourself flowers, but marketing teams love your idea. Player retention is a big sell for fans. I do agree. However, I didn't think of these 2 points. So thank you, Sam, and thank you, Lane.
Yeah.
My concern is that it's just another way for teams to cheat the salary cap. And you'll get teams like MLSC that can spend way more money because they'll just draft players. And because this is against the cap, I'll just pay. But hear me out, Lane. But then I'll just pay Matthews, Marner, Nylander, and Riley. I'll just pay them all $20 million a year. Who cares? It's not against the cap. And then
I said one player. I didn't say 4 players. I said one player.
I still don't like the idea, even if it's just one player. I mean, I understand the marketing side of it. I absolutely do. And then Sam, I do appreciate that you're a marketing.
Maybe I should go into
marketing a student, so you like that idea a lot.
You should, Lane. 100%. I've been telling you this. You should join us in school. But Sam is in my class as well for sports entertainment marketing at Seneca. Like, bro, we have so much fun. Not as crazy as the automotive days when I took automotive, but we still have a good time.
But no, for me, I'm not a fan of the idea. I think the salary cap is there for a reason. Then to me, it's just becoming too much like baseball, which we're going to see a lockout in baseball very soon, in my opinion. But I will say, I say it's ass in my opinion. Does that mean the NHL would never do it? No, I think it's ass that we keep putting teams in markets that don't give 2 craps about hockey, but they're going to keep doing it anyways. Because unfortunately, the Canadian dollar isn't strong enough to support another professional sport team unless it's a CFL team. Because we do know now CFL 5 years by now, no more than 5 years, they want that they want that 10th team in the league, right? So Dan is triggered every time he sees the word vibe.
That's another
Because we're looking at
inside
potentially
joke.
buying another vehicle, and I kept sending Dan ads to Pontiac Vibes because I think they're great.
Jacob loved his vibe when he had one back in the day. He wants to buy another one.
I
I'm
loved
like,
my little vibe.
yeah, the great cars. They're going with so much money. You can buy a nice luxury car for the same place. But anyway, that's a whole other topic. But no, I agree with you, Sam. The marketing class is fantastic. I just mean, like, you know, we just did some crazy things back in automotive. That's all.
Lane's so fed up. If he can say 6'7", I can say vibe. Fair enough.
That's right, you can. Vibe.
And saying vibe is respectful, so that's okay. But I think it's time that we sign off.
Oh, just quickly about the Leaf comment.
Right.
Yeah, I'll be very quick about it.
I will say I thought the Leafs looked better in their last game, but I'm looking for them to win a few games in a row before I say they look better in general. What are your thoughts, Dan?
Yeah, I want to say they look better. I'm happy for it. The reason why I want to bring this comment up is something happened that we haven't talked about yet. Yeah, there's no NHL games, but however, the Leafs did replace Mark Savard. They fired him. They said we're going to replace him. And one game later after one, they did replace him with Mike Sullivan, former Maple Leaf, very speedy offensive player.
Yes,
I really
Sullivan.
like
But yeah,
this
No,
signing.
Mark Sullivan.
Mark Sullivan, so I called him Mike. I've always Mike.
It's still
But anyway.
Steve.
What?
It's still Steve Sullivan.
Steve. Oh my gosh. Wow. Yes. Okay. Steve Sullivan. Sorry, Mike and Mark. I don't know who you are, but Steve Sullivan, you are the former Maple Leaf. You were the great offensive player, and you are now the assistant coach. So being a Maple Leaf player himself back in the day, he may understand what it's like dealing with the media and the stress of the Toronto market. So I really like the signing.
you know what doesn't stress me out though?
Oh,
Pie eating pie.
yeah. Love it.
Yeah, and Dan, Mike is the coach of the Rangers as well.
Yes, exactly. So sorry about that.
We're just gonna leave the pie behind him now because I think pie eating pie is kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
But hey, at least you know what, for NHL fans, if you're sick and tired of watching World Juniors, you got a lot of NHL games coming up on the docket, which is an exciting time for hockey fans, right? So out of these games coming up, obviously the Leafs, this is a big one. Battle of Ontario coming up, right? So, Lane, is there a pickle in your cup?
No.
I've been trying to figure that out for a while, so I figured I was just going to ask you live on the air if you put pickles in your drink.
Why would there be a pickle in my drink?
Why not? But
Why
we do
is
have
there
quite a
pie
few
eating
games
pie?
coming up on the docket for Saturday. Got the Rangers versus the Islanders, Bruins versus Sabres, Wild versus Jets, Senators versus Leafs, Lightning versus Panthers, Red Wings versus Hurricanes, Capitals versus Devils, Blackhawks versus Stars, Predators versus Blues, the battle of the basement there, Ducks versus Kings, Avalanche versus Golden Knights, of course, the Battle of Alberta, and to wrap it all up, the Vancouver Canucks versus the San Jose Sharks. I think that Battle of Alberta is going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's the game I'm most excited about. Holy cow. If you haven't seen the highlights of the last Battle of Alberta a couple of days ago, go back and watch it. Mackenzie Weaver, your trade value just synced like crazy because you took a very stupid penalty and you carry a dog out, ejected from the game. You were down, made the team down 5 defensemen halfway through the game.
Then you were down 4 because of the fight. It was
because they fight. That game had fighting, and with all the fighting at the end of the game, I think it's going to carry over with Adam Krappa. Love you, dude. I wish the Leafs would get him in a trade. So I am so excited about that game. And Connor McDavid and Draisaitl playing like the best players in the world. That was a phenomenal game.
And Nick Saban's Nashville Predators. I don't know. The Predators, I think, are going to be in a selling mode soon, which we'll have to talk about that another night or morning, depending on how late we're on every single show. But I think on that bombshell, it is time we wrap things up at the desk for the night. So I do want to say quickly, thank you very much for joining us at the analyst desk. And if you like the content, make sure you give us a like, give us a subscribe, send Lane flowers to his door, find out where he lives. I'm kidding. Don't actually stalk Lane, but stalk Adam. You don't know. No one knows what he looks like. So it'll be a much harder assignment. He looks like Austin Matthews. So, but yeah, make sure you follow us on all the social medias, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. And again, we appreciate all the likes, comments, shares, subscribes. Look at all these subscribers. We really appreciate it. So thank you very much for joining us at the Analyst Desk. I'm Jacob Moore, the sports analyst, joined by Adam the Goat, Mr. More for Your Money,
Woo!
and Lane Dashing Dashco. Until next time, thank you for joining us at the desk, where every day feels like game day.
Bye-bye.